assembled in a little bit more of a realistic way in terms of what you might find in your backyard.
Absolutely.
So we've got the squirrel baffle here to keep the pesky little animals away, and even the ninja squirrels will not be able to...
They can't get past it for sure.
Okay.
You may have to adjust that to kind of accommodate your particular setting and that kind of thing, but this is kind of a general set. Yep.
And then you've got this tray here that holds the feed and can be attached to the pole or can hang as well, right?
It's a four-way tray feeder. It can hang, it can be mid-pole, which we have a bracket here that affixes to the pole to support it.
Yeah.
It can go on top as a flat tray feeder for the ground feeders, and then it also has legs so that you can set it on your deck, put it on top of your shed, put it in different places to be able to give that different presentation.
Okay, now let's talk seed, because you have got a dozen different types in here, and I'm wondering how you could possibly need that many different variations.
Well, not all seed is created equal. There's about 17 different varieties and blends that we have.
Yeah.
Specifically blended for birding. It's done by an ornithologist. They studied the urban bird population.
Okay.
They studied the woodland bird population, or the rural bird, the country bird, and they developed these blends based on that study.
Okay.
So it's a little more unique, a little different than a randomly filled bag of seed that they stick the bag under the hopper and say, okay, this is bird seed.
Okay.
It's completely different. The other side of that is the seasons portion, which the ingredients make up a very high carbohydrate level for this type of year, this time of year, that gives them a lot more body heat, generates energy because it's high carbs. In the spring, about 30 different ingredients go in, like cracked oyster shell, all kinds of different things that ups the protein level, so that when they're nesting, having their young, they're much more strength than that for that time of year.
Okay, so for city birds, we're going with this type. For rural birds, we've got the woodlands.
Yes.
And then when we head over here, why have you got peanuts? What types of birds like nuts?
So with the roasted peanuts, we have a variety of different presentations that you can do with the roasted peanuts, from the unshelled peanuts for in a hopper style feeder or a silos type feeder, or the roasted peanuts that go in a different, this is quite a unique, a lot of people call it our slinky feeder. It's just basically a ring that you pour the peanuts in on this side. It goes all the way through. Birds are natural gatherers and hunters, so the nuthatches, the blue jays, woodpeckers, that kind of stuff will hang on this and fight to get the roasted peanuts out of this ring.
Really?
It's entertaining for them, it's entertaining for us as a watcher, and that's the whole thing about bird watching, is to be soulful and spiritual and watch the birds and enjoy that process. So this is very good. And again, with all of our seed, it's considered a human grade. So if you and I owned a farm and we took our seed to market, they grade it based on its value and yield and all those kinds of things. And our seed is all considered human grade, which gives it that food value, but it also gives it a very high yield value, because when we say bird seed, all of our blends and all of our seed are actually seed pods with seeds inside.
Okay.
In a very low grade seed, you're buying a bag full of empty pods, no seed.
Right. Now, Bob, I've got to tell you, growing up, we always bought bags of sunflower seeds.
Right.
Was I doing something wrong by doing that?
Absolutely not. The only thing that may have been the deterrent is that the quality of the grade of seed wasn't there, and you were buying empty sunflower seed pods with no seed in it. But certainly it's a very high protein carbohydrate level. The black oil sunflower is very strength oriented for the birds, and it creates their energy and power. Are
certain types of seeds going to attract specific breeds of birds?
Absolutely. We have a cardinal blend, which is specifically designed for cardinals. It's a black oil sunflower seed and a safflower seed mixed together. And then with our urban and our woodlands is also very specific, based on the population of birds in those areas. We have hulled sunflower seed, we have white millet seed, we even have mealworms. Mealworms, and people go, oh, mealworms. But in the spring, with our songbirds, they eat worms and mealworms, and we have feeders and presentations, so that when people traditionally think of feeding birds in the wintertime, but it's a year-round hobby.
And if you come into the Gilligallou Bird Shop, you guys know pretty much everything that we're talking about here, so if you have any questions, you can always ask Bob and Louise. So a little bit later in the show, we're going to take a tour of the shop, because there's still a lot more to see. Stick around, that's all coming up on CTV Morning Live.